Just want to let anyone know who's not here tonight. This is a recorded session. Each one of you will get a recording of this session, a downloadable file, and I'll also download the notes that I have into a PDF so you can have this as well to review later. So thank you to each and every one of you. Thank you for joining me tonight. Put your big three in the comments. Let me know where you're coming from as well. Also put in the comments what you're trying to learn in this course, in this class, what you hope to leave with here today. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Now we're just going to jump right on in. Also, I've already selected the first three of whose charts we're going to read for each different transit, progression, perfection chart. So I've picked the first three, and we'll use your chart as a tutorial for everyone. So I want to know who they are, and I'll put it in the chat. Oh, sorry, it's a direct message. So it's Amir, Grace, and Ricky. Those are the chats that we'll be doing tonight. First things first, and when looking at how to plan out your year, what kind of perspective are you looking for? Are you looking for a long-term perspective? Are you looking for a short-term perspective? What is the perspective first you want to center? Because that's going to be important. With certain charts, some will look at it from a yearly perspective, and some will look at it from years, from 5 years, 10 years. So there's a basis there. So that's very important when you're trying to plan out your year. What's the perspective? Now, the reason why I have the natal chart up first, because the natal chart is the most important chart to have when you're trying to look at anything outside of it. Your natal chart is the most important because it's your inner core, it's your genetic code. It's the before and after your life. It's the coded messages based on the events, the gifts, and the journeys within this lifetime. It signifies your ancestral energy, and you can find revelations here even for your descendants. That's why through your natal chart, you can see that your children, siblings, parents can have similar placements to you. So your natal chart is the most important. And what is your natal chart based on? Time, date, and location of birth. Now, first thing before we even get to reading charts, we have to understand transits. Transits help you look at the collective consciousness. It lets you look at what's the, let's make sure. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Transits are important because it lets you look at the collective consciousness, where the sun is for everyone, where the moon is for everyone, where Mercury is for everyone, where Venus is for everyone. Now, it becomes important when you're looking at transits because now you're going to look at your houses, you're going to look at your planets to see how these transits aspect you personally. Now, before we could go into looking at transits, I want to talk about aspects. Aspects are important because we want to know if these transits are going to be beneficial or if they're going to be challenging. So let's look at the major aspects. There's conjunction, and that's when it's in the same sign. So Aries is conjunct Aries. There's opposition. That's when it's in the sign directly opposite. That's in 180 degrees. So Aries is the opposite of Libra. Then there's a square. And that's the energy that's 90 degrees away. So 3 signs away. And that energy is, so if it's Aries, we're going to look at a square. Aries square, Cancer, a square. If it's a trine energy, it's in the same element. So trines are water signs. They trine each other. Air signs trine each other. And fire signs trine each other. And then there's the energy sextile. And then there's the energy of the sextile. And sextile is when it's 60 degrees, but just to give you the basis of there, it's an element that is compatible. So air is sextiling fire, and water is sextiling earth. Now, the positive aspects are trines, sextiles. So when you have transits that are trining you, sextiling you, and the same element as placements in your chart, and an energy that is 60 degrees apart. So and if you have air, if we're in transits that are in fire, that can be a great season for you. If you're in water, transits that are in earth can be great transits for you. So those are the positive ones. The ones that are a little bit more challenging is oppositions, squares. That means it's a little uncomfortable. Oppositions mean we have to come full circle. We have to look at the other side of this. Square means that there's natural friction here because we don't really understand each other. And you already know that every night, like if you ever do contracts, they're like every 90 days, the repo man's gonna come, or every 90 days, do you want to keep this contract? Energy that pushes you to take an initiative, but also lets you know that we're hitting a major point, but also a peak period. So a basis where you're hitting a friction point to see how you can make a decision. It's a challenging aspect square, but it forces you to make a decision. So every 90 days is like a big theme for a lot of contracts, and that's a square. So those are going to be the more challenging ones. Now, conjunction. Conjunction is only challenging if you're conjuncting a malefic. Now, let's say if you have a conjunction to Mars, if you have a conjunction to Pluto, now it's an uncomfortable conjunction. But let's say you have a conjunction to Jupiter or conjunction to Venus. Now it's a positive conjunction. So that's energy that's going to be in the middle. But the most positive ones are trine, sextile. So figure out the energies that trine you in the same element, and figure out the energy that sextile you that's within signs. And then when we transit those signs, try to launch, manifest, because these are going to be more smooth flowing energies for you. So that's the importance of having of looking at aspects. Now, before I continue, I just want to, because this is one of the questions I'll get in like sessions. Does anyone have any questions about aspects? Talia?
Hi, am I on mute or no?
No, I can hear you.
Okay, okay. All right. So I have a question as far as like when you go to plan something, um, how do you look ahead? Because I have a problem with that. Well, I have trouble with like looking ahead. So like let's say I wanted to like launch something, would I just how would I type that in like the birth chart calculator, I guess, to see. I don't know if my question is making sense.
No, I'm getting the gist of it, so I'm going to jump in to see if this makes sense. Now, if it adds on to this. So it all depends on your starting date.
Okay.
So when did we start it? And once we launch this, when we look at the transits on when we started it, how did it affect us personally? Did we start it during a season that sextile, conjunct, oppose us? That's one thing. Then on the day that we started, when are we trying to make our next launch, next movement, next rebranding period? And that's when you'll use the aspect. Do we want to do it in 180 days? Do you want to do it in 90 days? Because we know in 90 days from where we started, it's going to be a square.
Okay.
You want to do it in 120 days? Because that's going to be a trine, depending on the day that we started.
Okay.
And based on these aspects, you'll see what's the most positive time, a challenging time, based on the amount of days, next, weeks, months, next, when it comes to the next launching, rebranding. And this is also good on when you would want to launch. You'd be like, okay, if I start something, so example, so today is February 9th, so Aquarius season, right? So let's say you started something today. if we were going to want to launch something, let's say I want to launch something and I want to start something today and I want to do my first launch in Aries season. That will be a great energy for you because it's a trine. I mean, sorry, it's a sextile, Aries season. Because we know Aquarius likes Aries, air likes fire. Now you're like, okay, I want to do it during Taurus season. Ooh, that's a square.
Oh, okay.
And
So
that's
like
the
the
next.
actual
Huh?
date doesn't matter. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. So
No, 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 no.
the actual date doesn't matter. It's just like the season, basically.
Depending on when the date matters based on how you want your project, your brand to reflect on you personally. So
Oh, okay.
let's say you start something today, Aquarius season. Is Aquarius a good placement in your chart? How does it aspect you for you to start something today? Then
Okay.
once you figure that out, now based on if you like it or not, and we pick this date, based on the next few months, when are you trying to launch? Because you know in 90 days from today, it'll be a square. Could be a little challenging for you based on the date that you started it. But we know when you get to Aries season, it'll be a sextile. So that could be something where you launch something that could be a smoother process for you. Making sense?
Yes, yes. Thank you.
All right, perfect. Thank you so much as well for being my first person to ask questions. So anyone else have any questions when it based on the transits and also the aspects, my apologies, the aspects. And you could also put it in the chat if you don't want to come on camera. Okay, modality. Okay, modality. So I'm going to answer someone. So Brianna, the energy and modality. So modalities is two signs that oppose each other and two signs that square each other. So modality is mutable signs, fixed signs, and cardinal signs. That's what your modality will be. Elements are water signs, earth signs, fire signs. That's element, but modality is mutable, fixed, cardinal. Element is fire, earth, water, and air. No, so I only see it says in tune. I'm going to click it. I seen you raise your hand.
Uh-huh. Can you hear me?
Yep. Yep.
I want to learn how to you know how when you put your right no. I when you put your sun in a rising, I mean your sun sign in a rising spot, right? How do you go like for the instead of like the whole month? Like when I see people be going like the whole month, how do you go like week by week?
So I'm going to try to get the question. So that would be more horoscopes because you're going to take your sun sign and you're going to put it on the ascendant. So that's what puts you
Yeah,
on
ascending, yeah.
horoscopes. So when you read horoscopes and they're like Leo for this month, you will be
Okay.
going through. They're looking at Leo ascendant.
Mm-hmm.
When they're like Scorpio, you are going through this in horoscopes. They're looking at Scorpio ascendant. So even when
Okay.
you're looking at horoscopes, look at all your big three because they're looking at the ascendant. Because they'll be like, Leo, you have the sun transiting in your seventh house. But you'll be like, I'm a Leo and my sun doesn't transit in the seventh house.
Right.
Because
So
it's
automatically I would just put because I'm a Scorpio rising. So automatically I don't put Cancer sun, I just put Scorpio rising.
you put Scorpio rising because that's a very important part of your chart. It's an angular house. It's the first, it's what starts the chart. But you'll also look at Cancer, especially if you have stelliums in your chart. Like if you have like more than one
I
sign.
do, I do. I have a stellium in the eighth house. Yeah.
So you would look at that too, because that's a dominant.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Perfect. So talking about transits, and we were looking at aspects and how to look at what's the most compatible, cooperative, beneficial aspects, and the ones that will be challenging based on transits. Now, important thing with looking at transits is the degrees. So here's a transit chart. Degrees are important because if it's way out of the degree, the orb, it won't affect you as much. Like right now, Pluto is in Aquarius and it's at 0 degrees. So not every Aquarius is going to be aspected as soon as Pluto walks into Aquarius. It's going to be important that it's within 0 to 10 degrees. Some astrologers say a 10-degree orb, some say 5, but just know the closer it is to 0, the more it'll affect you. Now, also, what sign it's in. Since it's in Aquarius, we're going to look at someone, especially someone who spoke about modality. Those who have 0 degrees in fixed signs or 0 within 10 degrees in fixed signs will be most affected by Pluto and Aquarius transit. Because we already know it's going to go retrograde, and it's going to go retrograde between 0 to 2 degrees. So those who have Aquarius planets in Aquarius at 0 to 2 degrees are going to feel this first. Let it be Saturn in Aquarius, Sun in Aquarius, Moon in Aquarius, and also fixed. Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius will be most affected by this Pluto transit. Same thing with the other planets. Mercury at 7 degrees. Mercury is going to affect those within 7 degrees of fixed or Aquarius. And even with if you want to look at other aspects, like the trine, opposition. But degrees are important because if you have, like, let's say you have Aquarius at 28 degrees, Pluto's not affecting you yet. You're towards the end of this transit. Just want to center that so people don't think that, did I miss the transit? Is it not happening for me? It's on within those degrees. Same thing with Saturn being in Pisces at 7 degrees. If you're within mutable, Gemini, Virgo, Pisces, Sagittarius, within 0 to 10 degrees, this will be most affecting you. It'll be personal for you. If you're like immutable, Gemini, Virgo, Pisces, Sagittarius, so this is modality and also the sign of Pisces, and you're at like 23 degrees, it doesn't affect you yet. You're towards the end of the transit. So degrees is important. I just wanted to show it here with Aquarius energy. Taurus would square it, Leo would oppose it, Scorpio would square it, Aquarius, since it's the energy, sorry, my apologies, this will conjunct it. Conjunct the energy. Now, another important thing is to know how long the transits last. This is important because we want to know how long it's going to aspect us positively or negatively, and how long it's going to aspect us, and also how long it's going to aspect the house. Because when we're looking at the duration of transits, we're going to look at how it personally aspects our planets, and also what house it's in and how long it's going to stay there. So example, Sun in Aquarius will aspect your planet/house for 30 days. Moon, if it's in moon energy, if it's in Aquarius, will aspect your planet house for 2.5 days. Let me make that a little bit more clear. So with the energy of the moon transits every 2.5 days. So every time there's a moon, the moon changes signs, it's going to transit whatever house that you have that sign in for 2.5 days. The sun transits every 30 days. So for 30 days, wherever you have that sun sign placement in your natal chart will transit for 30 days. Mercury is always 28 degrees behind the sun. So it's about a month to it, like almost 3.5 weeks. That will transit. So Mercury will transit whatever sign it's in the house that you have, in that sign in the house that it's in your chart for about 3.5 weeks. I just want to make sure it's clear. These let you know how long it will transit. Jupiter transit one year. The North nodes transit every 18.5 months. Saturn transits every 2.5 years. Venus will transit about every 2 months. It's within 48 degrees. So it'll be a little bit over next to over Mercury, so it can even go over a month, especially when it retrogrades. Venus can retrograde for 6 months. Mercury as well when it retrogrades.
So, Umi, I have a question.
Hmm.
So, with this one, you're saying that it goes through the house. So, like, my Jupiter is in Aquarius in the 5th house. So, you're saying it's going to stay in Aquarius for roughly a year. Is that correct?
For the transits. So right now, Jupiter is in Taurus.
Gotcha.
So,
Okay.
but since your Jupiter is in Aquarius, that's personal. So that means for a year, my Jupiter is being squared.
Okay.
So wherever that house is, where your Jupiter sits, so Aquarius, so wherever your Jupiter and Aquarius sits, wherever Jupiter and Taurus is, that would be a natural, like a square, so 3 houses. And you'll see how that is where you're supposed to find expansion, more awareness, but it's a square. So where we need to work on diversifying and being open-minded, and where we still a little bit of stuck in spaces where that are still our comfort zones. For a year, we've been trying to open up and step out of our comfort zones and diversify in some way in how we think and what we believe in. We've been having a square for a year through transits. Make
Just
sense?
transit. Yeah, it's clicking in, but it's the particular house that it's in. So I need to look what my 5th house is actually to go back on that. Okay.
Where Taurus is. So what's your rising?
Aries.
Aries. Okay, so Taurus
Well,
is
my sun sign is Aries. My rising is Leo.
okay, so your rising is Leo. So Taurus sits in your 10th house, right?
Okay.
Taurus sits in your 10th house. That means your Jupiter would sit in your 7th house, right? Descendant, since you are Jupiter in Aquarius.
I don't know. I'm using a little, what is it? My app chart, like I'm trying to learn. So it says like my sun is in Aries, my moon is in Gemini, and my rising is Leo.
So Leo is the opposite of Aquarius. So Aquarius would sit in your 7th house. Since
Gotcha.
Taurus is in your 10th house, that is 3 signs apart from 7 to 10. That is your square. Right now,
Gotcha.
on my Jupiter, I'm having a square between my 10th house and my 7th house.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And Omi, you said that like first of all, do you use whole house charts, or do you use what's the other one? The Placidus?
So I use whole house just so it's like a clean and everything is in one space. But there's Placidus, and Placidus is important because it starts your rising by the degree.
Right, right.
And that's when you'll see intercepted houses. So when houses are swallowed up because it's going by the degree. Like let's say you have a high degree rising, by the time so we'll have a smaller a smaller space within that house, and then the next house will be wider. So that's what Placidus does. Now the reason why this can just be a little tricky, because it may not be as neat, clear. Like you'll have like one sign, you'll have like planets that are in one sign in 2 different houses. So that's just the thing with Placidus. So I just wanted to center that. But you were saying? So Placidus are whole. Were you asking a question after that?
Yeah, it was another question. You said that the people who had the higher degrees in Aquarius or in whatever trine or whatever it was in Aquarius or what was it, Leo, Taurus, Scorpio, that if it was like the higher degree, then we wouldn't be affected by, is it the Pluto and Aquarius transit?
Yeah, the Pluto and Aquarius.
Until like more so towards the end. Like how long does that transit happen?
So with Pluto energy, it can go from 14 to 20 years because it'll retrograde. So the time. Look, when we look at Pluto, Pluto is the generation. So Pluto and Leo, the boomers, Pluto and Virgo and Libra, Generation X. Since it's a smaller one, because Pluto and Leo was huge, but the Generation X, they can feel like their energy is smaller and their time period was smaller. Then we have the millennials, huge. Pluto and Scorpio. Then we have Pluto and Sagittarius. Generation.
Yeah, I'm Scorpio, Sagittarius. I think that's my son, maybe.
So
I don't know.
a Pluto and Scorpio, you're the later millennial. So we should be like, if you're if you said you have Pluto and Scorpio at what degree? 28, you said?
I'm not sure. I would have to look. I know like Scorpio is my rising sign as well. Aquarius is my moon. So I guess, and I have Leo Mars. So like all of those, like I'm just affected by like all of it in all these different ways.
Now, if you have Aquarius placements and it's earlier degrees, yes, Pluto will affect you. If you have fixed placements and it's early degrees, yes.
Okay, I see. Okay, I'll have to look at that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Umi, so what about like 0 degrees?
Definitely.
Scorpio,
You're
Pluto.
on it. It's on you. You started since 2 weeks ago. Since
Oh.
January, you've been doing your thing when it comes to working on your inner resources, budgets, health. It's been on you. You've been anticipating. Actually, for those who've had 0 degrees and fixed, since last year you've been trying this, because remember Pluto was in Aquarius last year. It just retrograded back into Capricorn. So this is a part 2 for you guys. This is a do-over. Can you see what I mean? If we have it 0 degrees, what are we doing over? What did we start last year that we're doing again? 0 degrees, you said in Scorpio?
Yeah. Yeah.
We were doing some, we were doing some family planning. We were doing some family budgeting, some family building. We had to take a hold as we moved into summertime, but now we're back. We're back into, when I say summertime, my apologies, as we moved into June, because June Pluto retrograded back into Capricorn.
Yeah.
But if we have 0 degrees, this is our do-over. We're doing this again. Retrograde back to this energy.
Okay.
All right. So it's important to look at how long, the duration of the transits, to know how long they will aspect you and how long they will sit in the house. Now, transits also lets you know, the important things, especially as an astrologer, transits are important. If you want to become an astrologer, because you're going to be dealing with different charts, with different placements, and you have to know the transits to see how it can also affect, especially if you want to do horoscopes, the collective. And just knowing like degrees, knowing what's the dominance within the transits. So example, right now we see a dominance in Aquarius and a dominance in Capricorn. So if we were doing horoscopes, we would talk to the Aquariuses and the Capricorns right now. We would let them know that it's their time. We'll also be talking to the modalities, the energies that square, oppose, conjunct, the energies that square, oppose Aquarius and Capricorn. We would talk to them. So we would talk about the Scorpios as well, the Tauruses as well, Leo. We'll talk to the Aries, Cancer, Libra placements as well, if they're within these degrees. Because that will be a personal aspect for them. Also with transits, if you're an astrologer, working with knowing the transits, you'll be able to work with the retrogrades. So this is a list. So January 1st, we had Mercury going direct in Sagittarius, but since the 13th, it was retrograde in Capricorn. Then we have our next retrograde energy, April 1st, then going direct April 25th. Another retrograde in Mercury, August 5th, going direct August 28th. Then we have another retrograde, November 26th, going direct December 15th. Not just there as an astrologer, you could have some things going on. Just there, you could let everyone know. Already like a yearly plan. And since we know the signs are going to be in the beginning, Capricorn to Sagittarius, we center that Mercury energy to them. Then we know it's going to go from Aries energy, we center that during April. Virgo to Leo, we center that during August. And then Sagittarius again, we center that during November to December. Sorry guys, I'm looking at the notes over as well. So Mars retrograde in Leo. We know that there's going to be a Mars retrograde, and that's December 6th of 2024 as we move into 2025. There will be no Venus retrogrades this year. Venus retrograde was all last year. But there will be a Mars retrograde this year, so it will be in Leo, so we'll be going into those and move into Cancer. So we're going to center why Mars is important for Leo and Cancer placements as we move into the later parts of this year. And even for those out there, as we move into the later parts of this year, as we move into December, there'll be a need to take initiative, take action for Leo and Cancer placements. There'll be a deep introspective period, but it'll be centering you, especially as we move into the new year. Jupiter's moving into Gemini in May. It'll also go retrograde October 9th. That'll be important for those who have Gemini placements, air energy as well. Mutable. And Saturn in Pisces, it'll go retrograde in June 29th to November 15th. That's going to be important for those Piscean placements. And it's very important we're looking at transits because we're going to look at the last time it went retrograde. So we're going to look at last year, June. Why is that important for you, Pisces? 2023 of June to July. Why was that important energy when it comes to having to take a standstill moment, go into hermit mode, really reflect on what our everyday routines and schedules are? Because it'll be returning in June, late June. That's how transits help you out. Now that we have aspects, we know the transits. Now let's look at the different charts that can help us plan out the year. Now, solar return chart. The solar return chart is important because this chart has to be modified based on your current location, so where you're living at the moment for that year. So when you do your solar return, you'll change the coordinates to that. It's also going to affect just this year. And how do you look at your solar return? Every year when it comes into the exact degree that you were born in, your sun sign, wherever those planets are at the moment, that now becomes your yearly focus. So example. Now I use whole signs just to make it a little cleaner. I just want to ask if Amira is here. I'm saying this right. Amira?
I'm here, I'm sorry.
Hello, how you doing?
I'm good, you?
Good. Now I have your chart up here. Now, the reason why I asked is I want to thank you. Thank you for allowing me to do this with you. So I just want to share that. I also want to just know where we at currently based on this solar return. So I'm going to use your chart to do a solar return. So it's based on where you're living currently, like where you spent your birthday this year.
Mm-hmm. So Stratford, STR, yeah, Connecticut.
Solar return. And I always keep the natal chart up just so you can see how you can reflect on, your overall core, what's being activated, centered through that. And it's important to see what we're even working with, the tools that we have anytime we go into different charts. So I want to make sure. All right. So this is going to start for you April 26th. Like I said before, it's when your sun comes to the exact degree that you were born in. So every time the sun comes into 6 degrees Taurus, wherever those planets are sitting at the moment, for everyone, the collective, now becomes your yearly focus. Yep, so Brianna said, so solar return is important based off where you spent your birthday, not where you were born, yep? So your solar return will be based on that day, When the sun comes into the exact degree that you were born in, where are you? And then it starts. Because if you, based on coordinates, your degrees can change. Because we already know if we're on the other side of the world, it could be tomorrow, it could be 3 hours earlier. So coordinates will change to make everything universal. So it's based wherever you are when you're spending your birthday, and when the degrees come into the exact placement where your sun is and where those planets are for the collective, and now becomes your yearly focus. So on April 26th of 2024, for everyone, the moon will be in Sagittarius, Mercury will be in Aries, Venus will be in Aries. But since it's your birthday, now it becomes specific for you, your energy. And that's the solar return. So for the solar return, with the moon being in Sagittarius, you're going to see how that aspects you personally. All right, there's some trines here. Also, with the themes of Sagittarius, since the moon energy for that year is your emotional temperament, your home focus, the spaces that we also build for future, since moon is energy that aspects, where our progressions are going. It's also what our, can really, and also in spaces when we want to look at it on the opposing end, what gets us emotionally restless this year, what gets us emotional, what is the space that we need to we're building more autonomy in, independence in. So just centering all characteristics of Sagittarius. Why the moon even feels, the home even feels mutable. Are we moving? Are we planning to move? Or is there this wanderlust for this year? Maybe even taking a trip. Now for the collective, the rising, also the ascendant will be in Gemini for this time, the time that you're born, because your ascendant is based on the time that you're born. We have an opposition going on here. We'll also look to see how Gemini aspects our chart, because your rising is the first thing that people are going to see when you walk in the room. It's your outer shell for the year. And that's your solar return. Now, I even want to ask
Thank you.
Amira, anything with, so we have this Sagittarian, we're having a Venus, Mercury, we're having a return. It's getting close degrees too. Solo trips, traveling. What are we doing with the bases? They're mutable
Listen,
energy.
I'm a little neurodivergent, so sometimes I don't pick up social cues the way I should. But I've been listening. Thank you so much. But yeah, I actually do a lot of solo across the country travel by myself in the car. So I would love to do that again. But financial restrictions, responsibilities, but that's something that like sets my soul free when I do stuff like that for myself. People are like, how the fuck you do it? I'm like, I just do it. That's it. And good backstories. So, it makes a lot of sense. But I'm just relying on miracles because I'm gonna be honest with you, and I'm kind of rambling and I apologize, but
Oh, you're good. Well, thank you.
I came late because I've been doing I was inspired to do a little production for my business, and I was like, oh fuck, I'm seeing synchronicities, and I'm doing all the work. So I made it happen, amateurish, but I feel the energy surrounding this new moon, and I feel like this is something that's going to be great. So I'm applying that same positivity and hope and working with these energies in order for me to, make that even more successful in different areas of my life.
Jupiter's in Taurus. So we know that's sitting on you closely. We're having a Jupiter return as well. So just with the finances, it's going to leave. It's going to move into Gemini. It's going to give you a little bit more free flowing. But even with looking at transits, what's aspecting me closely? The nodes are on you with Aries, North Node in Aries. So just looking to see how these are aspecting you natally, and also with your solar return, how it's aspecting that as well. Since your moon is in Sagittarius, solar return, but Saturn is in Pisces, that can even give you the basis of what this year. Can I travel this year, or may I have to put that in space where we do it later, or we find a way that can be more efficient? Taurus energy, economical. So just looking at that basis as well with transits, and also with the solar return, doing both. because this is your focus for the year. But it's going to start April, so your birthday. So thank you.
Thank you so much.
I have, it says in tune. So I'm just going to lower hand and I'm going to in tune. So that's what
Yeah,
yeah.
that's
Yeah. What's, I just want to know your name because you asked the question the first time. So when you come up again, I just want to remember.
it's Ricky or
Hey,
C.
oh, Ricky. Okay, Ricky,
Yeah.
you're one of the charts we're gonna do. Okay.
Mhm.
So you said you
Oh,
had
they said I asked another question.
huh? Yeah, it said you raised your hand, no?
No.
Oh, okay. So okay.
Okay.
So I have L Ripple. So I'm gonna put your hand, lower hand. There we go. I see.
Hi, I just had a question. So when you're doing the soul return, you're supposed to put in the same time and date for your birthday.
Yeah.
Okay, well, when I do that, because it's supposed to sync up with like your moon and sun and rising at the same degree, correct?
No, just your son.
Or just your sun? Okay, so
Because
just the
it's
sun.
solar
So when I
return.
do that, it doesn't work because I was born on, I don't know if this is the reason, but I was born on the fall equinox, like a few hours before it happened. So when I put in my birthday and the date or the time, it's not the same degrees in the sun.
Okay, so this would probably affect someone who's born in like February and they were like born the 29th or things like that, but then February ends at the 28th. So when you do it, is it close to your degree? Like, what's your degree of your sun?
I have to go back. Sorry, I had it, but I
Because
went
if
to
you're
do
born
it
in
the
like
other way.
times like that, because then like every year will change, right? Where it could
Yeah,
be
well,
or
the
non-leap year.
equinox, it changes like mostly every year. So it falls either between the 21st and the 23rd, and it usually lands on the 22nd,
It should
but
still
it
be
doesn't always.
it should still be within close
So
degrees.
mine is,
Sun.
yeah, so mine's 2953 in Vigo. But when I do it for next year, it's like 0 and then like 12 or something like that. So it's close, but it's not the exact same. So I was just wondering
Yeah, since
if
your
that's
birthday
because.
is already at 29, because we already know 29, it's a season change.
Mm-hmm.
Every 29 to 30 days, we're moving into a new month. So it's going to be within 29 to 0 degrees. Just within your sun, you're an Arctic degree. So an Arctic degree, an Arctic degree. So you're at a basis there where you're at a critical degree.
So then do I just like move it like up a little bit in time so that it matches the same degree in the sun, or just at the birthday time and date?
Leaving it that way because it's 2950 something.
Yeah. Okay.
Near
So then I
0
just
degree.
have to fool it around with it so that it ends up being the same.
Because certain years it'll hit that exact 29 degree.
Mm-hmm.
And then certain years it won't. But it still be within
Oh, I see.
like minutes, seconds.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I have a question. I don't know if somebody has their hand up or not, but
Nope.
I pulled up my chart and my Mercury is at 7 degrees in Cancer. My Venus is at 8 degrees in Cancer. And my Mars is at 3 degrees in Cancer. So is that like, I feel like when transits happen, because I don't know that it's happening until like I feel it for whatever reason. But then when I go and I look like, oh, this just changed, or, like, especially like, I don't know. I just feel like I just feel like I feel like I can feel the transits. Like, but is it because like it's earlier? Those degrees are earlier in my chart.
So when you're looking at your solar return, that's where Mercury is sitting and Venus is sitting.
Oh no, I'm not looking at my solar return. I was just looking at my chart, just just period. I don't have my solar return pulled up. I know, like, when we were talking earlier about the aspects, I had asked you about how the planets, the transits, like how the Pluto and Aquarius transit would affect those who had their degrees like later, like the 29s, and that's closer to the end of um the degrees. And you said that it would just depend on where your degrees was. So that's why I just went to go look at my chart. I didn't pull up my solar return chart. I just looked at my regular chart.
Well, just with your placements that you shared, since they're early degrees, yes, you'll feel transits early.
Okay.
They're in their shadow period as well, because you have early degrees in Mercury, early degrees in Venus. So yes, you'll feel them that basis there early when they start to transition. But since you have energy in cardinal right now, you're gonna have to wait later, because the planets that are in cardinal right now are in, like, it was towards the earlier months. So this right here, like earlier when earlier parts of like January, December, so December, earlier parts of this year, and later parts of last year, that's when Venus and Mars was important for you, because they were just coming into Capricorn. So they were coming into 0, 5, 7, 8 degrees. So that would have aspected your cardinal, your Aries, your Cancer placements. Now,
Well, my Venus is in Cancer, so that makes sense. And I went through a lot of hell relationship-wise around that time. So that makes a lot of sense.
now another transit is the North Node. The North Node moves backwards,
Mm.
because it's already a placement about past life. So with the
Okay.
North Node, since it starts at 29 degrees, the North Node is not going to aspect you till the later parts of this transit of your natal placement. So the transit, when it gets to the earlier degrees, which is the backwards, later parts, that's when it'll affect your cardinal transits.
Mm.
When is the North Node going to hit me? That's more later, because it
Okay.
starts backwards.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, so that's solar return. Now you look at your solar return chart. Now your lunar return. The lunar return chart is, and it's the same thing with the solar return. It's going to be modified based on where you're at for that month. And if someone travels every month, then they would change the coordinates. But if every month you're still in the same location, or you're still living in the same area where you were born, you would leave it at where you're born, or where you spent your birthday, or where you've been spending for the last few months currently. So where you're doing it, because your lunar return, since it's month by month, it would be something that is more secondary to the solar return, because that lets you look at the entire year. Now, with your lunar return, it can be good for women who want to track their menstrual cycles, since the moon energy is connected, and was first, and even how it started, the transit of the moon, when it came to how like lunar returns, how it transits every month, it was based on a woman's cycle. Now, with the lunar return, it shows you their overall emotional state for the month. And just know every time you have, and just know within a year, when you have your lunar return, you'll experience one during a new moon, and you'll experience one during a full moon. So example, if your moon is in Aries, you'll experience a lunar return during a full moon when we're in Libra season. You'll also have your lunar return during an eclipse. If you have a moon in Aries, you'll experience a new moon, and that's when it's in the same sign during Aries season. If you have a moon in Leo, you experience a lunar return during the full moon that happened during January 25th. You'll experience your new moon, if you have a moon in Leo, during Leo season. And the last one you experienced was in August of 2023. Full moon is opposition, when they're in opposite signs. New moon is when they're in the same sign. Full moon's when we come full circle. That's why during a full moon, it's time to release. We're at our full capacity. And a new moon is when we're doing new beginnings. Since it's in the same sign, it wants to center you. And since it's in the same sign with the sun and moon, it wants to center how you want to start anew. Center you. Full moon is we're at a full capacity, and we're also looking at everything around us. Now, this can be great months to do alchemy, manifest, especially when you're experiencing your lunar return during a new moon energy and a full moon energy. So those who have moon in Leo, January 25th into that weekend was, really important for you. Some of you could have launched things, did some branding, and also Aquarius got creative, made some investments.
Tonight's a new moon for Aquarius for all my moon friends. So, indulge in that for sure.
Yes, a new moon tonight. So that energy as well. So those who have moon in Aquarius, this is important. And this also will be important for those who have Leo tonight as well. Could be a build-up from what started since the 25th. So that's your lunar return. Now, another short-term perspective is a perfection chart. Now, it's both. It's short-term and long-term, especially when you extend it. So with perfection chart, I'm going to pull up this chart. And the site is astroseek.com. And you're going to go towards perfection. And we're doing Ricky's chart. And since it's on a different site, putting on the spaces there. So, Ricky, I just want to make sure everything's correct. I think we spoke earlier.
Yeah, everything looked correct to me.
All right, perfect. So perfection chart. Perfection is based on your age. So your age.
Is that 17? It says 17 military time, right? I guess that's 5 o'clock, right? Yeah, correct. Yep.
Yep, so 5 p.m. looks good?
Mm-hmm.
All right, perfect. So with perfection chart, it's based on your age. And that's why I could give you a long-term view.
Mm-hmm.
So with perfection, based on your age, it's going to center the house that you should focus on. And this gives you an overview for the year.
Okay.
Since we're at 38 years old, we'll be looking at our third house.
Mm-hmm.
Right? We're a Scorpio rising. Make sense?
Yes.
So we'll be looking at our third house and all third house themes. And since we have Capricorn there, we'll be looking at this year in a Saturnian way. This is a year of discipline, and it's in a third house, mental discipline. It's in a third house basis where we want to build in our skills. So we want to bring more practicality, order, titles, degrees, certifications. So where we feel like we are mentally, we have a strong skill set in. We want to help others find information in third house. Also where we need to even bring in finalizations, because Saturn's a finalization sign, an ending to start, to restart. So where we also, and within the third house, need to really find that balance within third house themes, siblings, old friends,
Yes.
old stomping grounds, so early environments, hometowns, third house.
Yeah, I'm kind of like dealing with that right now with my with the siblings, my sister and her kids, and then at the beginning of this year, it just like mental alchemy, just all in my dreams. Like that's what I should be studying and stuff. And that's what I've been doing, just trying to get my mental game down pat.
And that's third house energy.
Mm-hmm.
Now we don't even
I
touch
see, yeah, I see that now. It's
Now-
not in alignment. That's what as far as I can tell.
Perfect. Now, what I like about this is that we don't even it gives more patterns. We don't have to guess. So the last time we were here was at our 26th birthday. And why that's important, and the next time we'll be here is at our 50th birthday.
Okay.
Now, we can also do year by year, month by month, day by day.
Okay.
Now, what I like about this is that it gives you a tone for the year. Some years are going to be about career, ambition. Some years are going to be about love, connection, commitment. And some years are going to be about movement, travel, mental expansion, therapy. So we'll look at the annual part. Now, cardinal years, the year that you're in, these are years where we want to put things to the cardinal energy, initiators, starts of seasons. Cardinal children are usually first children, only children, dominants, leaders in their family, little big siblings. So big, little, little big, yep, little big sibling themes. So they're dominant in family. So when we have cardinal years, we're putting our feelings to the side. We feel like we need to get to an end goal. We need to find a direction. We need to go in to get paperwork in order, certification. We need to do things that bring us even a sense of maturity, growing up. So cardinal. And how you could have felt like this year. The next time
Yeah.
cardinal will be when we move into Aries, your 41st birthday. The last time we were in a cardinal, in different cardinal signs, so the different signs that are cardinals, different themes, but still years of taking initiative, finding direction, wanting to make choices, making choices, ultimatums. So just to give you perspective with the last time you were in cardinal energy, cardinal, and even the last time you were in Capricorn. So you can go back a little further, and this can also let you go back a little further. So last time we were in cardinal was our 35th birthday, 2020.
Yeah.
And prior to that was 2017, our 32nd birthday.
Mm-hmm.
Just to give you perspective.
Yeah.
Fixed years, and that's going to be Scorpio, Aquarius, Taurus, Leo. Those are going to be the years where we make purchases, relationship, our health, nutrition years, spaces where what is our foundation? Where is our sense of security? How do we now stabilize this, invest into it? Your 24th birthday, your 27th birthday.
Yeah, 33rd. I felt like my whole life changed. Like I just like something just clicked on that Leo fixed year in 2018. At 33rd. Or do I say 34? 34.
33, 2018, 2018.
Yeah.
Omi, can you show how you got to how it shows the previous years for me, please? One more time.
So I'm going to, let me go to the top. So everyone, astroseek.com, perfections chart. And just even to get here, when you get to the site, you're going to go to prognosis, solar arc, solar return. It's going to bring you to perfections. Then when we get there, we're going to go to edit birth data. You see how it says date for perfections. You put the year that you want just to give you perspective. So the range. And then you'll be able to go back throughout the years. And even when looking at your chart, just look at the cardinal houses and those ages. The fixed houses and those ages, those bases there. So just want to make sure everything's correct. Yeah.
What did you just press to get to this chart? You said the cardinal houses and those spaces, they
So
have
when
years in them. I have mine up right now. That's why I'm trying to compare them.
now you're good. So when you get here, there's going to be these boxes here that asks you for monthly, daily, perfections, natal. So we're going to go to monthly, daily. It's going to allow you to show the yearly, the monthly, the daily.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi, Umi, I got a question.
Hey, boo.
I love you. And also, okay, so my perfection is in the 7th house and it's in Jupiter. So Jupiter rules the 7th house, is that correct? Or
For you, what sign is it?
okay. It's in Pisces.
All right, so are you a Virgo rising? So Virgo rising?
Yes, ma'am.
Yep, so yep, for you it rules, Jupiter is a ruler for you since it's in there.
And then
Jupiter's home in Pisces.
Jupiter rules Pisces, isn't that correct?
Yeah, and Jupiter's home in Pisces, yeah?
So does that mean that I'm at home in this area? Or how would you interpret it?
The year would be Jupiterian for you. It would have a Piscean theme as well. So you're in your 7th house year. So if we're in a 7th house here, we'll be looking at this year in a Piscean way. Since we'll also be looking at what planets are in this house and how that takes effect. You'll also look at, when you're looking at your perfection chart, when was the last time you were here? So if we're in the 7th house, we would, and it's these ages are for everyone. So we would our 42nd, our 30th. So we'd be sitting in that would be the ages that we'd be in 6, 18, 30th, 42, 50, 54th. So we'd be in that area. So that would be the basis of what you'll be looking at. You'll be looking at the last time you were in these areas and these ages, why it was Piscean for you. Also, there's transits in Pisces and how that's affecting you in the state and within those transits. But yep, that's why you would be looking at it. It's home, but it's natally home to you. So that's something you natally have. You're natally a teacher of others. You're natally an energy that helps others find their subconscious understanding. That's natally to you since you have Jupiter in Pisces. This is just knowing that for this year, you're going to center your 7th house, other people, others, how others view you, more transparency, things that Piscean traits that apply to the 7th house.
But in my natal chart, Jupiter isn't in Pisces. So why do you say that natally Jupiter, it is home for me?
So, so if Jupiter isn't in, so when you said Jupiter is in Pisces,
for the perfection chart,
it doesn't say Jupiter at the bottom or Neptune. So I'm trying to, so you would look towards your, so let me show this chart just to make sense of it. Make sure I'm saying this correctly. Make sure everyone's placements. I'm going to put the placements again. Let me just explain it. Ricky has Capricorn in her third house. Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. She's gonna look towards Saturn themes and also the sign that her Saturn is in. Make sense?
For the perfection or for her natal?
Perfection. If you're sitting in the 7th house, if this is a 7th house year for you, you're going to go your 7th house, the 7th house ruler, Piscean. At the bottom, it should either say Jupiter or Neptune, because it's a Neptune house, a Neptune ruler or a Jupiter ruler. Now you would look towards your natal Jupiter and Neptune, and that adds more basis to that year. So that's how you would look at it. So example. Even do it. I'm going to pull your chart after. I'm just going to show this chart just to see what you mean. Mhm.
Did we lose her?
That's crazy. I think we did.
She probably gonna reconnect in a second.
I guess, while we wait for her to come back, I hope everybody had a good day today.
Oh, you so sweet. I hope your day was good too, girl.
Yes, thank you. My day was good, doing nothing.
Period. Get your relax on.
No problem. I'm a girl's girl, so I'm all about checking in on everybody, make sure everybody been good. Sorry, y'all, I am driving. So y'all probably hear that noise.
You good? That's sweet.
She's back.
My apologies, guys. The screen like completely went blank. All right, so now I have to share it different way.
Umi, why you pulling that back up? I had a quick question. If the perfection is showing like in my first house, I turned 36 in July, so that's I guess when it would have started, or is it just going based off of today
It would start then.
when I turned 36? Okay.
Yeah.
So like if it's first house, is that why I kind of been like, oh, I gotta focus on me. I can't focus on nobody else. I want everybody to leave me alone. like I've been feeling that, and I've been telling people that for quite some time now. But is that type of energy, like that first house energy?
Yep, it'll be in the first house. It's also like a rebirth as well. So it opens that up as well. With a rebirth, and the sign that it's in.
Scorpio.
So a rebirth, a transformative period. Also, this Pluto and Aquarius, depending on what sign, like the degrees, is affecting you. Jupiter and Taurus is affecting you.
My Pluto is in the Scorpio too. So with that, I guess that's squaring. I guess it would depend on the degree you said, but I guess that's squaring the Pluto that's in Aquarius right now too.
In this new moon energy, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And the sun. I just want to pull up the chart. My apologies, guys, as well.
What does the perfection mean?
It's the chart for based on your age, the year.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So just
that's what we're on right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's perfect. Okay.
So I'm going to share screen. All right. Okay. So you see how within the chart, 38 years old. So I just want to, I want to make sure this is correct. Okay, does this look good?
Yeah, and it's just like 38. Like I used to call people that was 38 old.
Yeah, you better stop
That's
it.
crazy to me.
Is it 220?
520.
520. There we go. Because I know we had Capricorn earlier, so 520.
38.
All right. So since Capricorn is in her third house, it is a Saturn ruled sign. So her ruler of the year is Saturn. She's going to look towards her natal Saturn sign. And natally Saturn is in Scorpio. Right?
Yeah, Saturn and Scorpio together, yeah.
So since she's in her third house year, she's going to take on a Saturn theme. And it's going to reflect Scorpio energy in Scorpio ways, where she needs to find more balance. So in the third house basis there, back to what we were talking about siblings, it's a financial year where you need to make finalizations on where you feel like you no longer want to overcompensate. You don't want to give more than you can afford, where you need to purge, or it could even be more, have a little Martian platonic tone to it, where this can open up with Scorpio, betrayals, disagreements, debt, things like that.
Yeah, that's what I'm dealing with my sister, death. Yeah.
Got you, Umi. Thank you. That made so much more sense. Thank you so much.
When you look at yours, what planet does it say at the bottom?
So for the perfection, I don't know how you got the natal to circle it also, but mine it says Pisces. So Jupiter is going to be the ruler of the seventh house.
Perfect.
And then my natal Jupiter is Libra. Right?
Yeah.
So I'm supposed to look at it as I'm in this Piscean year, but I need to handle my relationships in a Piscean fashion and a Libra fashion.
Since it's a adding the tone, yes, adding it together. Libra with Pisces. I would be put Neptune in the energy of now an air sign. So Jupiter in the Jupiter, Neptune, Piscean energy of an air sign, where we feel like we are no longer aligning with certain friend groups. We are very, very conscious on, the integrity of others, where we want to become more transparent with others. Also, this is Libra energy is still cardinal. So it's still a time of career where you might even feel like you want to do something as teaching, healing, guiding for others. That is Neptunian, Piscean, Jupiter. I'm adding Piscean because it's going to open up more mystical, alternative, holistic. Type of medicine. You understand? So you know what I mean with the basis there, since it's Piscean. Make sense?
I'm trying to figure out where you're getting Neptune from though, because of the Pisces. Because I thought Jupiter is the ruler right now of the 7th house.
That's why I was asking you at the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
What does it say is the ruler you should follow? When you look at your perfections, you see how you saw at the bottom of hers, it said Saturn. What are you seeing your ruler is?
Oh, got you. I see Jupiter, but then it also has Pisces at the end of it.
Let's put up your chart. So if you want to just share it in the chat. I think I have it as well.
Let me find the chat. I have no idea.
I'm going to change this. February 15th, 1993. 23 p.m. Sorry guys, my laptop completely overheated, so I got to do it this way. And the time, I know it's Seattle. The time. And the time again, Fevin?
8:23 p.m.
p.m. All right. All right. So yeah, Jupiter. We're going to look towards your Jupiter energy. Because Neptune is also a sub-ruler of Piscean. But since with Vedic astrology and just more of these charts, they're going to look towards the personal planets. Because Neptune is far out, but it's also a ruler of Piscean. So that's why I kept asking that. If what planet they wanted you to focus on, Jupiter or Neptune. So yep, we're going to look at the basis of 7th house, other people, how you share within those partnerships, how we project self, how that's always, because this is your natal chart, how it's always been Piscean for you. Maybe people haven't always seen you as clearly. Maybe you have a basis where I'm really trying to work on being more transparent, finding more transparent individuals. Where we also want to showcase and represent the type of lifestyles that we study on, we want to live in. And now, and since your Jupiter's in, you have Libra, where you might even want to sell this, make this a business. Also, since Libra is the energy of air, where you're also looking at your friends and your partnerships very closely right now, the closest people to you, and how you want to help them find more 7th house themes. Especially in a Piscean way, a spiritual way. Like I could already see it already. You sent the twins. Like you're doing your thing. You're sending a lot of you sending everybody over, baby.
Yes. Thank you for doing that. Oh my God, that meant so much to me.
That basis there. Just
So,
wanted to show you that with the chart. So just looking at the bottom. At the bottom, it's going to let you know based on your age, the house it's in, and then what the ruler is of that house and how to follow this year.
So how did you put like our home, like our natal chart into that mix? Because I know we were talking about like I had the first house in Scorpio, but you asked like what is your natal house? Like what is your Mars ruler in your natal house? Like how does that affect it?
So your Saturn is in Scorpio.
No, my Pluto is in Scorpio and my ascendant is in Scorpio as well. But it said that my perfection chart said that this year my first house ruler, like my first house was the ruler, the one that I should follow, which they said the ruler of the year, the planet I should follow is Mars. But you were saying we should find our natal chart. I was trying to understand that part. Our natal chart, Mars.
Did I pull the chart up earlier?
No, you never pulled my chart up. It wasn't mine.
Okay. Because I was like, oh, where did I get Capricorn from? Saturn. Okay, so
Sorry.
your age. So what is your age currently?
36.
So 36. So we're gonna look at our first house.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So whatever our first house sign is in, you said it's Scorpio.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So at the bottom, where it says the ruler of the year, it should say it's 36 here, it's gonna say Mars. Now we're gonna look towards our natal Mars.
Leo.
Now, even though it's Scorpio year, that means it squares your natal Mars.
What does that mean?
So squares a little friction here, and just with having this Leo, this Scorpio rising, Leo's about finding fulfillment, creativity, a sense of I am. But when we have Scorpio, where we can feel like resources, where we have to overcompensate for other people, where we can feel like there's a basis of what can I afford, that doesn't always allow us to really take initiative towards what we love to do, what we like to do, what we want to do. Mars and Leo. So this year is really centering that, since it's in your first house. So you might even feel like with even the Martian energy, get out my way. I gotta do what I want to do. I want to save up to what I want to do. I'm going to make sure I clear out some debt, purge some things so I can do what I want to do. Especially with that first house base. And since it's in the first house, and this is a Leo energy too that's aspecting it, we might even change our look this year, change our hair. Leo's connected to hair. Style. Scorpio can even do a huge like surgery, go deep. Transform. Let it be holistic for those bases as well.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Thank you.
You're welcome. Does anyone have any questions?
I do, Umi. Sorry. Okay, so it's my perfected year is in the 5th house in Aries, and I'm just so my my Mars rules my 10th house, Mars is in my 10th house in Virgo, and I don't know. I just don't know how to make that, like, understand that. That makes sense.
Okay, so what is the age?
40.
So 40. So 40 will naturally sit in your 5th house, right?
Yes.
What sign is in your 5th house?
Oh, that's what I need to look at. Okay. I don't think I have anything in my 5th house. Let me double check. Sorry.
There's going to be a sign there. I mean, there may not be planets there, but there's a sign.
Okay.
My
5th house is in Aries.
All right. So at the bottom, it's going to say Mars is your ruler here.
Yes.
So what is your Mars natally in?
Virgo in the 10th house.
Oh, when we look at the basis of the 5th house, it'll have, since our Mars is there, energy of taking initiative. Also, same thing with the chart I did with before, with having that Scorpio energy. So this Mars dynamic. Now we add on the Virgo theme. Now with Leo, we talked about sense of esteem, sense of creativity. Now with Virgo, we're talking about organization, better sense of teams. Finding that planner, scheduling in our lives where we need to work with our inner working, our health, maybe trying to, especially with the basis of it, Scorpio, or even need to purge certain habits, release. And since this is the basis of shared resources, or even with our partnerships, there's going to be other people as well. We want even our closest people to us to change their habits as well, especially for future events. 10th house, the longevity of this family. 10th house of self. 10th house.
Okay.
They're going to look at the age, and it's always the same. It's just for everyone's chart, it's going to be different because you have a different rising.
Because I guess where I was confused was, since it's in my perfection year is the 5th house. That's like the house of pleasure. But what you just said, I don't know. Can that be pleasurable? Purging and organization. Well, for some people, that's pleasurable. It's not necessarily for me, or maybe I just haven't figured that out yet. But
well, we have Mars here, so more making room for pleasure. The thing is that we have Scorpio energy here, so it's a house of self, but in a sign of. So where we want to get the family and doing something pleasurable, maybe we want a family trip, do more family outings, couples outings, to make more space where because we're going to be conscious of not only self, but other people's pleasure.
Where are you getting, where's the Scorpio energy? Like, how are you finding that?
Well, we talked about how the 5th house has Mars.
Yes.
So it's either, so is it Scorpio or Aries? So it's Aries or Scorpio energy. I was looking for Scorpio.
Oh no. My 5th house natally is in Aries.
Okay.
And my Mars is natally in Virgo, and my perfection year is in the 5th house, or is the 5th. I'm 40.
I'm mixing up the Mars. So yes, now it's centering differently. Now you're talking about self-pleasure, Aries.
Okay.
Now with Aries energy, we want to take more back to that initiative. But this is now where we want to make sure we plan out. Make sure we really set the tone that we dive into pleasure, that we make pleasure happen in life. Now it's no longer, so when I was looking at Scorpio, I was looking at it from shared resources point of view, but Aries is self-serving point of view. So yes, you are right. So when you were looking at, so with Aries energy, yes, it's about self, taking more initiative for self, and even doing some more solo. Scorpio is going to be us, Aries is going to do more solo trips, solo venture, me time.
Okay.
So yes, it's going to be towards self. Also, since it's an energy that starts things, you started for your 40th, you're going to start something new. You want to start maybe a new we're going to add Virgo, maybe new projects, new hobbies, interests. Maybe you want to even take on a certification, things where it's me and how I can dive into my gifts, my skill sets. 5th house, especially the pleasurable ones, the ones that are fun.
Okay.
I was just looking at Mars, because Mars will, if we have a Mars year, it's going to be either Scorpio or Aries.
Yeah, that makes sense. Duh. I was not putting that together. Okay, but I'm in an Aries year. Woo. Okay.
And even looking at transits, because we have the nodes in Aries, so looking at degrees and how that's helping you out.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I got a little nervous when you told me that since my Pluto is in 0 degrees Scorpio, that I'm doing this again. I guess I'm doing the same thing that I did last year. I'm not sure if I interpreted that correctly, but I guess it's like maybe a second chance. Am I, like it's like a Groundhog's Day situation? Maybe?
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks.
And you're here. You remember you were here before. So where were you here before? So we're going to look at the chart.
Like here, like
I'm about to share it for you. I'm about to display it.
Oh, okay, thanks.
At the switch, at the switch, at the, oh, 40 years old, we're going to be in our 5th house. But we were here before. We were here at our 28th birthday. We'll be here again at our 52nd birthday.
Okay. I had 2 babies at 28. I don't even remember what was going on then.
Now, since it's still Aries, where we need to prioritize self, the basis of even cardinal. How am I going to plan out more time for self? How have I hindered self in pleasure of self? There's also a children's house as well. So why even this year is important for the kids. Milestones and new beginnings for the kids, where they're even going through their own autonomy, mature period. So this is the thing with perfection. It gives you more looking for patterns. With the age, there's always going to be every 12 years, because there's 12 signs. So every 12 years, you return back to 4 plus 12, 16, 16 plus 12, 28.
Okay.
You know that with just 12 years, what transits every year in just the 12th year? The Jupiter. So every year, whenever you return back, every 12 years, whenever you return back to the house, is asking you to have a reflection point of Jupiter. What have you learned? 12 signs. So that that's perfection. Kayla, we could just hear. I could just hear the background. So
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah.
No, I would have did it myself, but I'm on like a whole new laptop, so it's like a whole new screen set. Had to use the iPad to build to share the screen. So it's not going to be. I'm not going to be able to mute it as quickly just to do it itself. So thank you. All right.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. So long term. So now that we did perfection. We did perfection chart. We did solar return. We did lunar return. And those are going to be short term because those are monthly, yearly, and yearly again because it's by age when we're doing perfection. Now, long-term charts will be, our long-term perspective would be a progress chart. Now, with progress charts, that's when you can work with more predictive. All of them could be predictive, but a progress chart, and since it's more long-term, now you can work with looking at what could happen in 5 years, what could happen in 10 years. It can help you anticipate 10 to 30 years into the future. Now, a progression chart, energy is going to move a little slower. Sun moves a degree a year. Moon, it moves every 2.5 days. Since the moon transits every 2.5 days, it'll move every 2.5 years. So you'll see the moon transit in progression every month. So a degree every month. Because it's going to take 2.5 years to do the full 30. The sun is going to take 30 years to do the full 30 in progression. Mercury will move 1 to 2 degrees every year. Venus will move 1 to 2 degrees every year. Mars will move very slowly. So even if you look in your progress chart, your Mars could still be in the same sign that is natally. The ascendant, your ascendant progresses as well. And that will move 1 degree. It'll move as similar to the sun. 1 degree per year.
So does that mean by the time we're 30, like, or 33 or something around there, everybody's like moved to a different sun and ascendant and in their progress chart?
Yeah. And also the degrees. So the degrees that you're born with lets you know how long it's going to take you to that progressed energy.
Right.
So I'm going to pull up a chart. Guys, I just want you to bear with me since I'm on another screen. I had things set up on my laptop, but we had technical difficulties. So I'm going to pull up Grace's chart. Right. Grace, are you here? Just want to
Yes.
All right, perfect. So I just want to make
Thank
sure
you.
everything's correct. Oh, thank you, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you everyone for being here with me tonight as well. Thank you, everybody. So thank you, Grace. So we're doing your progress chart.
Thank
So I
you.
just want to make sure everything looks good at the top. December 23rd, 1990, 2:15 p.m. Looks good?
Yep, I see my little planet of parade of planets in Capricorn.
So with progression, every year the sun moves into a new degree. So to another, like every year the sun moves a degree. It moves up, right? So in progression, you've already progressed into, on the sun, remember every year adds a degree. So you've already progressed into Aquarius. You've been in Aquarius for 4 years. Now, how do we get to that? This is where the mathematical part comes in. If we're born with a 1 degree Capricorn sun, when we turn 29 years old, because 29 plus 1 is going to equal 30, come full circle. So when we turned 29 years old, we moved into Aquarius. I want to make sure everything looks good here. Yep, Aquarius. 29 plus 4 should be about your age right now. Since it's at 54 minutes, we could either round up or round down. Can you see what I mean? Does that make sense? So 30,
Yes.
33, going on to 33, 34. Make
It
sense?
makes sense until you said something about the minutes. You said at 54, we're supposed to count minutes too?
Well, since it's 54 minutes, that means this is about to round up to 5. So that's why I say you can either round up or round down. Because this could even show that now if it's 29 plus 4, and it says 29 plus 4, that would be 33, but it's 54 minutes. She could say, well, I'm going on to 34. How old are you? Like started like this year, like she's just passed her 33rd birthday and she's going towards her 34th since it's 54 minutes. So Grace, how old are you? How old did you just turn and what are you going into now this next year?
This year I'm turning 34 on December.
So it could either round up or round down based on this basis here of it being at 54 minutes. So she's going to turn. She's on her way because this is already showing that it's about to round up. Now, if it was less than 54 minutes, like it was like 4 degrees and like 0, then she would be like, no, I just turned this age. I'm exactly this.
What number? Okay, so it goes up to 59 and then it turns over to the next number.
Just like it would be like 59 minutes, new 59 new hour.
Okay.
59 almost new year. So she's coming into a new age this year, because it'll add on a degree now, which will add on to her age. Make sense? So even looking at your own degrees, what is your degrees by the sun? Where are you now in progression? And what is the difference between that? And that should be your age.
So wait, when is her birthday? December?
Yep, so December 23rd.
So it shows the degrees and then the minutes. Her minutes is 6 right there currently.
Where? So her minutes is 4. I mean, sorry, her 4 degrees and 54. But what are you trying to minutes? What are you trying to where do you see the 6? So yes, 6 is right here. So this right here, so minutes, seconds, degree. So
Okay.
degree, minutes, seconds.
Oh, so the 9 is the minutes in the natal and the 6 is the seconds.
She just hit 54 exact. But as it keeps going a few days, you're going to see 54 in extra minutes, extra seconds.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
And just looking at this, I'll let you know that, when I'm going to move into like more like example with progression, looking at the minutes and how long it's going to take you to get to the next degree. This can help you look at transits. Because you're like, okay, especially if this is like looking at this base here, like right now with Pluto being in Aquarius, this is important for me. Also, let's say if Pluto was in 5-degree Aquarius, we would be like, oh, that's aspecting me. I'm almost there.
Based off of her natal being at 6?
Her progression.
Being
Based
at
on
4.
Her progression being at 4 degrees in Aquarius, since right now Pluto's at 0 degrees in Aquarius.
Okay.
So
and if it's within 10 degrees, then that's when it's aspecting you.
Personally, yeah.
Okay.
Because now this gives you another perspective where you're like, okay, it's not aspecting me natally, but why do I still feel like this is connected to me transit-wise? Because it could be aspecting me progression-wise, season-wise.
So it could do both.
Because this lets you know the different seasons that you'll walk through. And in progression, you'll be 3 to 5 seasons, depending on your degrees. Because if we look at every 30 degrees, if you live up to depending on your degrees, if you live up to at least 70, 80, you've already gone through 2 signs.
Right.
Wow. Did you show on here how to get to the progression?
So a little ratchet here. So I'm using this, but we would go to astro.com.
Mm-hmm.
And since I'm doing it on this, It's going to be a little different. But we're going to go to astro.com, and then we're going to go to the top. And this even on your laptop. We're going to go to extended chart selection. Under horoscope drawing and data, and go to extended. Then you could put all the different chart types that you want. And when you go to this one, you're going to go to progression. You're going to put the date when you start the progression, because you can even go back into time and look at the progression of where you were at and what season you were in. You're going to show the chart. Then it's going to show your progression. The sun's going to move every year. The moon's going to move every 2.5 years. And since the moon transits every month, lunar, Grace is currently at 28 months in Taurus. On an emotional level, Grace has felt like a Taurus for over 2 years now.
And that 25, that's next to her Taurus. That's the minutes, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That can go up to 60, and that's when it'll change to what's after to Gemini.
Well, it's going to go to 29.
Oh, right, the degrees, not the minutes. So that's the degrees in. Okay.
And then after it hits 29, because that's a critical degree, it hits 0 degrees. And in progression, when we're at a 0 degree, this is a void. We're in limbo. Even as we start to hit 29 degrees, we're hitting a limbo point, or we're floating, because we're about to walk into the new season.
Oof.
And that's progression chart.
So if a lot of your degrees are in your natal chart are around the same, like I think I got a 3, a 6, and a 9, like in my Mercury, Venus, and Mars. So I'm probably going into different seasons. Well, no, because they all move at different times. So they don't all happen at the same time. Okay.
Some move slower.
Right. Okay.
You're going to see the quickest one, the moon.
Mm-hmm.
That's why it's the fastest moving transit.
Mm-hmm.
And within the transits, 2.5 days. So just even though that every 2.5 years, you're moving, your moon sign is changing in progression.
Wow.
So it's saying that I'm sorry.
Oh, no, you okay? Go ahead.
It's saying that my progression is in 10 degrees Leo.
In your sun sign?
And Cancer. Yeah. 3 degrees Cancer. Then it's saying, well, which one do we count as degrees? The one that's on the right side or the left side?
The one that's in front of the sign.
The one that's in front of the sign, right?
That won't have any like extra numbers. So it'll be number, sign. But it depends on what site you're using too, but it will be the number in front of
the same one, astro.com.
All right. So what's in front of the sign? What number?
10, Leo, and then 11.
10, Leo, 11. Is that in your progression, the green part, or in the blue part?
The progression.
All right. So since it's 10 degrees, what is in the blue part? What is your degree next to the sun?
3.
3 degrees. So 3. So we're going to look at how long does this take us to get to 30? So if it's at 3 degrees at our 27th birthday, we moved into Leo. Because 27, because it all depends on what's the minutes now, because 27 plus 10 should be our age right now, 30. So the basis there of 37, 38. Does that make sense?
Yes, plenty. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anyone else with questions? All right. So I'm going to stop share. And I'm also, since we're rounding out the session, we're rounding out the class. Thank you so much to each and every one of you, especially since I had the technical difficulties. So appreciative. You guys were great sports. I'm going to talk about this last chart. when it comes to planning out your year.
Okay.
All right, documents. Okay, the location chart. Some will call this astrocartography. That's called astrocartography. And it's based on where you are, especially if you want to travel, take vacations. The location charts is very important with looking at your lines. So if you were to do this chart, you would see that there will be certain lines that are going through certain types of countries, cities, states. These lines will show your Jupiter line, your Venus line, your Neptune line, your Mars line. These will be lines based on those planets in those planets within those signs in your own chart, and now where it lays out on a map. Now, how this can help you? It can help you with relocating. That's important. I'm traveling. And you just got to really be conscious of, if you want to go to a Venus line, because these will be the if you ever study astrocartography, they're like, go to your Venus line, go to your Jupiter line. Great, because it will build. There are beneficial planets, but make sure that they're aspected well, so we don't just go to a location that just gives us one theme, but then we struggle with another. Like we go to our Jupiter line and learn so much, but don't really make money there. Then we go to our Venus line and make so much resources, but don't really find a peace of mind there.
And isn't it hard, like if you have like planets that have those hard aspects, like those oppositions and those squares, isn't it hard like to even find like peace in any of those, like, because it's always squaring each other no matter what?
Yeah. So you can even feel like sometimes it's not even me, it's the place I'm at. Let's say it's your moon line or your Pluto line. Every time you come back here, it's just, you just feel away. You just feel intense. You come into something that's always Martian, Platonic, every time you come into this area. Or even when you go into area, you experience something Platonic, Martian, just being conscious of that. Where you go to a Martian line or Platonic line, or you have negative aspects or bad aspects to those in your chart, and you go to the city and you end up in a fight. You end up losing some money. So just being conscious of that as well, based on how it aspects you and what line you're going towards. Now, since I within these, like if you ever like with astrologers and just with me personally in these charts, if you're not a well-seasoned traveler, I wouldn't really like do this for others, like do these types of sessions, because you don't want to tell people that they should go live here, be here, without knowing the experiences yourself and knowing geography yourself. That's important. So everyone, thank you so, so much for allowing me to share this with you.
Thank you.
You guys were awesome.
Yes, thank you.
I want to make sure you guys could see me. Yes, you guys were awesome. Thank you so, so much. Thank you for also staying with me as we went through that transition. This is recorded. The beginning will have the whole the beginning when we were on like the laptop, so you'll have that, and then it will like shift to this. But I'm downloading this and I'm going to send it to each of you in your emails. So I'm going to download all the notes that I had, and I'm going to email each of you so you guys could search it, like read it, study it on your own, and build it from within your own studies. Also, this is recorded, so I'm going to send this over so you guys could download it as well and study it through that. You guys were awesome. Thank you so, so much.
Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah?
I just have one last quick, because it's gonna eat away at me, and I'm not like an expert, but I wanted to know, because there's so many different types of charts within astrology, and you have to know the fundamentals, right? So it's like, are these charts like mutually exclusive, or they follow a particular pattern based on your natal chart? Because you got draconic, you got progressions, you got perfections, you got the solar return. So it's like you're seeking out because an orrery, I've heard of orrery as well. So it's like, I don't know if I'm making sense to you.
No. I'm just trying to, what perspective do you want? Because if we're looking at draconic, we're not even on this lifetime. We're looking at a past life.
Yeah.
If we want to do solar return, we just want to look at the year progression, just a year. If we're doing a progression, we want to do 5 to 10 to 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
So what perspective do you want? And then you go towards that chart.
That's a good way of putting it. It's very much the answers you seek are the answers you get depending on what you're looking for each thing. Yep.
Right now, if you're like, you know what, I don't even want to be on this plane. I want to be more in like, why did I even come here? Like, why did I even come into this incarnation? And that's when you would look at your draconic chart. Because the draconic chart, we know it works with the nodes, the energies of our past life and our current life. So that perspective.
Yeah. No, I don't want to meet anyone that hits my south node. I'm done with that. But thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you, everyone. I see you guys
Can I
later.
ask-
You guys have a great weekend.
Can I ask one quick question?
Yeah, we're all good. As long as y'all rocking with me, I'm good. I'm good.
Oh, fantastic. So what would you look like? I have something kind of big planned for Monday, but I'm not sure. It's a bankruptcy meeting, fun stuff, but I'm not sure if that's the direction I want to go. So like, what would you recommend? Would I look at my natal, like my transit chart? Is